We're out in Pahrump, Nevada at Spring Valley Motorsport Ranch to try out one of the most anticipated cars of 2012. It's the Scion FR-S, right here today on Rumblestrip.net and 10-minute test drive. So the Scion FR-S has been something that's been highly anticipated for a very long time. It's what everyone says they want if they're an enthusiast. Lightweight, rear-wheel drive car, not too much power, but something that is sharp and nimble and a lot of fun to drive. So the question is, does the FR-S deliver on all that? The answer is pretty much spot on. Now we're going to pick some nits with this thing. But we've had a chance to drive it on the autocross track that they've set up here, also on a 1.5 mile road course track that they've set up here for us as well. And I got to tell you, this thing is everything that you want in a sports car. You can feel everything that's going on with it, whether it's about ready just to like plow straight on with some massive understeer in a couple corners that we were trying a little too hard on, or whether the back end's going to come out on you as you flick it in and try to ride the tail out a little bit. Power oversteer, not really going to happen. But if you're carrying the momentum and you're going fast, yeah, you definitely can hang that tail out. Now, we're no Chris Harris, and we can't hang the tail out at will. But I tell you, we did have a lot of fun with this car.
Super low center of gravity. The center of gravity even greater than a GTR, greater than a Porsche Cayman. Matter of fact, comparable with some of the Ferrari models. But basically, this car is about bringing passion back to driving. An authentic rear-wheel drive car that produces 200 horsepower out of a 2.0 liter engine, and it really this 100 horsepower per liter is really a key number for us. And you see, just it's the right amount of power, not over, not under, right amount of power, great balance and great handling. I also think what it does is this car kind of answers a concern in the industry today. The vehicles have just become so electronic, so technology based, not just true driver based, and this was what this car does, and we think it's going to excite the whole industry, not just Scion and Toyota. So we're really excited about the Scion FR-S, and especially mine right behind us, which has a aero kit and TRD exhaust and a suspension and bigger wheels and tires. And you can do anything with this car, and like all Scions, we come in mono spec, but we want to make it personalized so that each person has a chance to really show who they are in their car. That's what it's all about.
So the 2-liter boxer engine is a Subaru design-ish, or is in combination with Toyota. They've taken this whole 86 theme very seriously. Obviously, the heritage of the AE86, the Corolla, and there's 86s all over this place. The badge on the fender, the exhaust tips are also 86 millimeter. The bore and stroke are 86 millimeter. They're taking this whole 86 thing very seriously. Now the engine has Toyota's D4S fuel injection system, which is both port fuel injection and direct fuel injection at the same time. This allows them to have a really high compression ratio of 12.5 to 1. Obviously that's going to require premium fuel, but small price to pay. Now 200 horsepower, so 100 horsepower per liter, a little bit up in the power band, which not unexpected. If there's one disappointing thing, maybe 1.5 disappointing things about this car, it's this. It's the torque. Now, everyone talks about horsepower, few enough people talk about torque. And why torque is important is you get into some slow corners and you really need to drive out, especially if you're not popping it off the rev limiter. Torque is really what's propelling you at that point. Torque's also what's helping to make the motor rev a little quicker. And the motor, I wish it would rev just a little bit quicker. Feels like it's being held back a little bit, even with all the electronics turned off, which you can do. When you turn everything off, it's off. It's not no nanny. Trust me. We've seen a couple people loop it on the road course and over on the autocross track. And yeah, so traction control, it's there in one of the settings. But if you turn everything off, you've turned it all off. Muy bueno. Bonus points to Toyota and Scion for that. So torque, on the racetrack you really notice. On the street you notice it a little bit. On our drive out here, about a 65-mile drive out here, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't like you put your foot down and it won't accelerate. It needed more pick 'em up. It just needed that little bit more. Really we're talking, when I say we're picking nits here, that's really it. I'm sure the tuners that are out there will address that very quickly. Styling on this car, I like it. Some people aren't going to like it. They're going to say, well, it's not beautiful, it's not gorgeous. It is in its own right. It's minimalistic, and I like that. And there are some small, subtle detail touches that are really nicely done in this. And we'll roll in some B-roll here to show you some of those things. The pagoda roof, the little scallop on the fender here where the 86 badges are, some sculpting in the rear fender. Like it. I think it's really well done. The interior of this car is exactly what you want for a sports car. It's real minimalistic. Some fabulous seats. So good that I want to take them out and bolt them in my personal car. The tachometer, right front and center in front of you, dominates the instrument cluster. The 6-speed manual transmission in it, very good. Good gear ratios, clicks through the gears very, very nicely. So no complaints about that. Driving down the road, it's actually pretty quiet. It's not loud, it's not boomy. You don't, there's sometimes you hear Subaru Boxer engines and they have this drone. None of that comes through here. So well done to Toyota on that. Now, they do have a sound tube coming from the engine compartment. So above 4,000 RPM, you do get a little bit of extra engine noise, as you're driving it. And I can't say that I sort of notice it in and out when we're on the racetrack, but it does give you that extra oral input, so not too bad. 2,750 some odd pounds, 2,780 pounds, nice lightweight. The key thing with this is the low center of gravity. According to Toyota, only the FLA and the Ferrari 360 Modena have a lower center of gravity than the FR-S at 18.9 inches. And you really do feel that when you're out there on the track. You don't have that high tipping point. It feels like it's all in your hip area here, how you're turning, how the car is moving, and you feel very, very connected. Steering input is good. I wish there was a little bit more feedback, a little more communication. It's an electric steering. It's one of the better electric steerings that we've dealt with. We'll have to say, though, that it is very direct. So as you turn the wheel, that's where the car is going, and it points really, really well. Toyota are going to bring in about 10,000 of these cars in calendar 2012, and then they're anticipating 20,000 cars for calendar 2013. They're going to sell every single one of these that they make. It's that good. It is. If you're writing a spec sheet, or if you're writing a wish list of things that you want in a car, this thing pretty much does it all. And the thing that I really like about it is that you can have the fun at under triple-digit speeds. It doesn't have 500 horsepower. It's not going to do 1.05 Gs around a skid pad. And you know what? I don't care. The fact that it slides around is a lot of fun. You actually have to learn how to drive. The car's not going to cover up your inability to drive. If you make a mistake, you're going to know about it because the car is so nicely balanced. If you're a keyboard ninja in mommy's basement, or and all about spec sheets, or all you've ever really driven is Gran Turismo or Forza, you're going to hate this car. And you know why? Because you have to drive it. It's not all electronic. You can't dive into a corner way too late, lock the brakes, turn it, and hopefully and make the corner. You have to learn how to drive, and that is what's so great. It's a driver's car, period. So well done. So overall, in our brief experience with it, we did about 4 or 5 sessions of 5 laps out on the road course, did about 6 laps on the autocross course, missed the podium by this much. We're number 4 in speed, at least we were when we left. So, God, I love this car. Is this a car that I would buy with my own money? Yeah, 25 grand, maybe another 1,000 or 2 for a couple options, better stereo and some things. Muy bueno. Toyota, of course, and Scion being what they are, they're going to have a bunch of different specs available. There's a 5-axis body kit that's fairly sharp. There'll be 18 and 19-inch wheels available, and a whole host of other things. So, our first impression, this thing is a walk-off grand slam home run. Full stop.